but no two seasons are ever the same, and it's happening. Eric Bieniemy is gone. Ian Cunningham is gone, and good for them. And that brings us to the latest, Declan Doyle taking the job with Baltimore. What do you think of that, and what does that loss mean for you guys?
Yeah, well, we're super happy for Declan and really anybody this time of year that's able to go out and take advantage of the situation they were in the year prior. And that's kind of happening with coaching right now, and with players that'll come up here soon with free agency and teams kind of getting their rosters set and somewhat ready to go for the upcoming season. It is kind of like a puzzle piece, and with us being in a salary cap league, there's pieces of the puzzle that fit well into the next season and pieces of the puzzle that don't. So, I'm sure Ryan and Ben are going to be all over that this time of year, figuring that out and all those things. But, yeah, it's obviously a big loss for us, losing Declan, EB, two great coaches and guys that provide a lot of value to the offensive side of the ball this year. And, I know even though Declan doesn't call the plays for us, the amount of work that he did on the offensive side of the football was immense. And you could see that in day-to-day in practices, and I'm sure it took a lot off of Ben throughout the week for his duties as a head coach.
Cole, if you could just humor us and kind of walk us through that, because I know at the beginning of the season, Ben Johnson explained how from an organizational role, that was going to be so important, Declan's role, even though, as you said, he doesn't call plays, but so that Ben Johnson could do, head coaching duties, and because he wasn't an offensive coordinator anymore, but he still remained the play caller. What was Declan Doyle's role as you got through the season? What would you say his day-to-day was like?
Yeah, well, I mean, that'd almost be hard for me to even say just because I'm not there in those meetings once we leave the building. But, you can tell with things in terms of getting the scout team correct, getting all those cards ready, dialed up, ready to go, whether it's scripting the practice. I'm sure Declan had a huge say as to what plays we're going to have up and what looks we were going to get throughout the week of practice. And then, on Fridays and Saturdays, when we'd go over our film from Fridays on Saturday morning, Declan's the guy going over that tape with the whole skill group and then kind of leading us in the walkthrough on Saturday before our main mini walkthrough as before we get to the hotel. So yeah, Declan was very hands-on with all of us, and that is a big role. And I know I understand and I somewhat understand what people on the outside and they say, oh, if you're not calling plays, like really, what are you doing? These guys do a lot of stuff in terms of prepping for the game plan and getting us ready to go for practice throughout the week that really shows up big time up on Sunday. And then, I mean, another thing Declan was great at is, I'm sure Ben as the head coach, there's a lot of things you got to handle in halftime. Declan's the one addressing the offense at halftime, kind of going over the openers that are going to be coming up in the second half and telling us what we need to do, what they're seeing, and how we can make adjustments. So, yeah, Declan was definitely a very valuable piece to us offensively.
That's great stuff, man. I mean, that does add a little bit of extra texture. And you're right. It's always tough when you can't say that you're calling the plays. We talked to Chicago Bears tight end Cole Kmet here on 104.3 The Score. Rahimi, Harris, and Grote. And Cole, I mean, like we talk about changes for the teams. Every roster is going to be different going forward. Do you get nervous thinking about that anybody can be exposed to potential trade? Like DJ Moore, his name pops up sometimes. Your name from time to time pops up sometimes. Anybody who has value to make other parts better, how much of that do you watch and how much of that do you think is real heading into the next season?
Well, it's definitely very real. I know it's real because I've seen it happen before. That's just the nature of the business in this league. So, I mean, maybe, you say nervous or scared. I would say like my first 2 years in the league, you're like, it kind of catches you off guard of just how ruthless this business can be. But I think at this point in stage of my career, you're kind of accepting of it and understanding that this is just part of the deal. And, especially like a guy like myself, or, you're talking about DJ or other guys who have played a little bit and you're on a second deal. Unfortunately, as you age, you get more expensive, and you may not fit in the, that piece of the puzzle that I was talking about. And that's just the nature of the business, So however it works out, it works out. For me personally, I felt like I did a lot of good things this year in the role that I was in, and had a lot of fun playing with this team. And, like I said, after the game against the Rams, it is going to be different next year. despite who's here. But I think going forward, this is an organization that you want to be part of, and I'm sure they're going to have no problem bringing in the guys they want to bring in free agents wise and selling them on a Super Bowl run this upcoming year.
I'm curious, Cole. Ben Johnson talked about guys like Caleb, he mentioned by name, but getting away from football after the grind of a season ends. Is that something that he talked to you and the rest of your teammates about as well? And what have you done? Do you get away from it, or do you still watch football every Sunday? How do you handle football after getting knocked out of the playoffs?
Yeah, it is. It's a long season. I mean, really, we start at the beginning of April and you go all the way till mid-January, and it's really nonstop. I know we had the bye week in like week 4, and so that kind of really prolonged the season mentally a little bit there. But I like to get away from it. Ben did address us after the game and telling everybody, use this time to get away, reconnect with your families, and reconnect with your loved ones, and that's what you got to do. You make a commitment from start of April all the way through January, and football comes first. There's a lot of things that come up, and there's weddings that are missed. There's family events that are missed. And you just can't be at, because the priority is football during that time. And that's the commitment that we make to one another. And it's a good point that Ben had, I think, that for us to kind of have this time to reconnect with our families and get back to doing some things outside of football. So, for myself, I take off. I'll take off really training, hard training up until March. I watch the games. I'm a fan. I was watching the AFC NFC Championship games. Those are good games to watch, and obviously I'll watch Super Bowl coming up here this week. So, as much football as we play, it's still hard to get away from. It is a great sport to watch.
Well, I was talking about this on the Score the other day, way back when we were just 670 and we didn't have an FM signal back in the day. This is the first year in a while, Cole, as it pertains to you guys, to the Bears, that while I was watching those title games, I wasn't like longing for, boy, I wish the Bears could do that. I wish they had that player. Of course, there's certain individuals, of course you say that about, but it was the first time where I was like, I am at peace with what the Bears did this past season. Are you at peace with what you guys did this past season in terms of what you accomplished, or no?
I think now that being a few weeks removed from it, I can definitely appreciate what we did this year. Obviously, it was not the goal that we had set out coming in April. And I know the expectations on the outside weren't what we did this year, and I think that's why everyone was so appreciative as to what happened. But at the end of the day, us in the locker room, we expected to go win the Super Bowl this year, and that didn't happen. And so it was hard. It's hard at first to look at the season as a success when you don't achieve your ultimate goal. But as I've done some travel here the past few weeks since the season's been done, it's been really awesome to interact with Bears fans in the airport or wherever I'm traveling to. And I mean, really, they just come up to you and say thank you. And you really realize the impact that we had on the city this year. You really felt it come to life, especially on the back half of that season as we kind of made a run and pushed towards the playoffs. And it just really shows you how meaningful the Bears are here in Chicago. At the end of the day, and I grew up a huge Cubs fan, and obviously the Bulls in the 90s, but at the end of the day, this is a Bears town. This is a football town, and you can feel that as we were winning going down the stretch there. So, I definitely look back on the season and I'm really appreciative of it, kind of understanding that we didn't achieve our ultimate goal, but still have a lot of appreciation and respect for the guys in the locker room as to what we were able to get done this year.
I know you didn't reach that ultimate goal, but you have been watching football. Do you have a pick for the Super Bowl? Do you have a team that you think is going to win this thing?
Yeah, I'll give you a pick. I think I'm taking Seattle, and I love what New England's done, and obviously they got a great operation going on over there. I think they play great defense, and their quarterback has been outstanding the whole season. But I just watched Seattle on tape, and they're long, they're fast, they're physical. Their quarterback's playing really well, and I just think that their depth is probably going to take over for the game on Sunday. It might be close in that first half, but I think Seattle ends up taking it pretty good.
And it's way too soon for the Patriots to be winning Super Bowls again, man.
Yeah, right.
That's probably you notice how he's already watching tape though. He's getting ready for next season's road game at Seattle. I got you, Cole. Yeah. I picked that up.
Yeah.
Cole, seriously, man, thank you so much for popping on. I know that you guys cherish your off seasons and your alone time and your private time, and your workout time. So thank you, man. It really means a lot to us here at 104.3 FM, The Score.
Thanks so much, Cole.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Yep, that is the one and only Cole Kmet. I caught that too. The guy's watching,
He's watching tape.
Oh my goodness.
Ben Johnson said, "Get away from football." He's like, "All right, as soon as I watch this AFC and NFC championship game, and then I'm going to watch some tape."